Let's be clear from the start. We're not just talking about a Formula One team today. We're looking at a strategic financial asset. We're going to break down the investment thesis for Williams Racing, a team with a legendary championship past and what might be a deeply undervalued present.
Think about this for a second. On one side, you have this incredible legacy, 9 constructors championships, a name that was synonymous with absolute dominance in the 80s and 90s. And on the other side, a current valuation that frankly doesn't even get them close to the front of the grid. This is the central paradox we're digging into.
So it all boils down to this one question. Is Williams a fallen giant whose best days are long gone? Or is it possibly the most strategic bargain on the entire Formula One grid? That's the question at the very core of this analysis.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that incredible legacy of dominance, then unpack the current valuation disconnect. After that, we'll look at the F1 market, which is like a gold rush right now, identify the key things that could fuel Williams' growth, and then we'll deliver a final investor's verdict.
Okay, first things first, we have to establish the foundation of this asset, and that is its undeniable championship DNA. You know, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Williams wasn't just another car on the track. For 2 solid decades, they were the benchmark. They set the gold standard for what it meant to be an elite motorsports team. And we're not talking about a quick flash in the pan here. From Rosberg and Paquette in the 80s to the absolute masterclass of the 90s with legends like Mansell, Prost, and Villeneuve, Williams built a true dynasty. 9 constructors titles? That's not just a number. It's a legacy of engineering genius that's literally baked into the brand's DNA.
But that golden era is in pretty sharp contrast to the cold, hard financial reality of today. Here's the number that really defines the situation right now. $1.91 billion. Now, that sounds like a massive number, right? And it is. But in the wild world of modern Formula One, context is everything, and that number tells a very, very different story.
And this chart just lays it all out there. When you put Williams up against its old rivals, the gap is just immense. Ferrari is sitting at over $7 billion. Mercedes is at $6 billion. Williams is worth less than a third of that. It's not even in the same ballpark. So here's the bottom line. You've got all that incredible brand heritage, all those championships, and yet the team's financial standing is closer to the newer teams than it is to the sports elite. And that disconnect, well, that's exactly the investment opportunity we're talking about.
Now, to really get why this low valuation is so compelling, we kind of need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. And what's happening in Formula One right now is nothing short of a market boom. Get a load of this number. In 2025, Formula One's total revenue is expected to hit $5.6 billion.
Folks, this isn't just growth. This is an explosion.
I mean, for that revenue to nearly double in just a handful of years, that tells you everything. We are in a full-blown gold rush era for the sport. The entire pie is getting bigger, and it's getting bigger fast. Every single team is a part of this incredibly valuable and rapidly growing enterprise. And you can't just waltz in and start a new team anymore. They've built this massive financial wall to protect the 10 existing teams. It's called the franchise fee, and it's basically a payment to make sure the value of those original 10 slots stays high. So how high is that wall? Try $700 million. That's what the new Cadillac team is paying. And that's not to buy a team. That's just the cover charge to get into the club. This alone makes owning one of the existing teams, like Williams, an incredibly valuable asset. So let's recap where we are. We've got a legendary team that's undervalued, sitting in a market that is absolutely on fire. The next logical question is, okay, what could actually trigger a resurgence and make their value shoot up?
Well, I think it really comes down to 3 key things. A game-changing driver lineup, a proven blueprint for success that we've already seen from a rival, and that dormant but still very real championship DNA we talked about earlier. First up, and this one's a really big deal, is their driver lineup for 2026. You've got Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Seriously, people all around the paddock are calling this lineup overqualified for a team that's been at the back. That's a huge signal of intent. It tells you they mean business. And, you know, in today's Formula One, the math is actually pretty simple. You get better drivers, you get better results on the track. And better results on the track, that directly translates into your team being worth a whole lot more money. The two go hand in hand. And hey, if you think this is all just a theory,
Think again. We have a perfect recent case study, McLaren. Does this sound familiar? A historic, legendary team stuck in a performance drought, finishing near the bottom. But they focused, turned it all around, and boom, their valuation skyrocketed to over $4 billion. That's the playbook. Williams just needs to follow it. All right, so let's put all the pieces together. What's the final verdict? What is the core investment thesis here? When you lay it all out like this, it becomes a really classic investment case, doesn't it? The strengths are obvious, a legendary brand and a powerhouse driver lineup coming in. The weakness is really just recent on-track performance, which, of course, is why the valuation is so low. But the opportunities, a booming F1 market and a proven turnaround model, they present a crystal clear path forward.
So the investment thesis is direct and, honestly, unambiguous. You're looking at an asset with world-class brand equity that's basically on sale. It's trading at a huge discount to its peers in a market that is going through the roof with very real, tangible catalysts for a major re-rating in its value.
And so, that's where we're left. The heritage is undeniable, the new talent is secured, and the market could not be hotter. For any investor, the question is no longer if Williams has this billion-dollar potential, it's whether they are perfectly positioned to capture it as it finally gets unlocked.